Welcome to another gardening video from Homesteading Off the Grid. We have all kinds of stuff going on here this morning, and we're going to be talking to you about corn specifically. Hey honey, what's that?
Eggplant.
Eggplant, let me see. Where'd you get this eggplant from?
From inside the house.
Yeah, inside the house, of course, silly. We're transferring our eggplant here today. This is one of the things we're doing. We started this eggplant indoors about a month ago because we wanted to get a jump start and have multiple crops. It's doing really great. We're past the last frost and the last freeze, and so we're transferring it outside. Now we are transferring it into a row here along the fence where we were going to plant corn. We got this, I came home yesterday early from work, and my beautiful bride had all kinds of surprises for me. We built this green bean teepee a couple days ago, and if you watched that video, you might remember this was all weeds. Well, now it's not. I came home and my beautiful bride had weeded this, and here she planted a bed of cabbage. Look at that beautiful bed of cabbage. And here she planted a beautiful bed of onions. And we were going to make 2 more beds here, and I got this great idea that we'd make rows for corn all the way around the side of the, we got this fencing up to keep the deer out. Here's our raised bed gardens. They're doing really well. Got all kinds of vegetables in there. We planted last month cold weather vegetables like carrots and beets and radishes, and that's our compost pile. It's not working too great, but we're going to plant corn all the way around the side. And then I did further research and found out that that's not a good idea. Take the phone, honey, and let me explain some things about corn. Okay, so I've got my sweet corn and I'm going to plant it, and I want to share some information with you about how to properly plant sweet corn. Like myself, many of you probably think it's simple. You hoe a row and you plant it and you go. And as I pointed out earlier in the video, we were going to plant rows of corn just around the perimeter of the fence to maximize the use of our space. Well, here's an admission about our channel and the information we share with you. A lot of it's based on experience, but we do our research, and if in doing my research I found out that I've actually been doing something wrong, I don't want to pass the wrong way of doing something on to you, so I'll adjust my behavior and pass on to you the correct way of doing things. I was researching planting corn this morning, something that seemed simple, and I found out something that I haven't been doing correctly for years. I've been planting corn for over 30 years. I'm in my mid-40s. I used to help my dad garden when I was a kid. But then we grew corn in the Philippines. But corn must be pollinated to produce the vegetable, the ear of corn that we eat. Pollination has to take place, and the #1 pollinator in the US is the honeybee. Well, my research, and I'll check multiple sources. I don't just go with one article that, oh, that sounds nice, or one source. I'll take multiple sources, and the multiple sources kind of confirm that for the best pollination, which will give you the heaviest production of corn, you need to have at least 4 rows of corn side by side. So we switched gears, and we're going to use those rows we were preparing along the fence line for our eggplant, which has been growing indoors for about 6 weeks. But we've got 4 rows here now for our corn instead of making 2 more beds for other vegetables, because it would have looked neat. Looking good and actually working good productively the way it's supposed to are 2 different things, and we are concerned about production. So you want to have 4 rows at a minimum side by side, so that when those little honeybees come around to pollinate, they're going to be attracted to the row of corn right beside it and going over there, and they'll do that pollination thing they do. Whereas if you just have one long row, sure, it might look good, but we've got apple trees up there, we've got pear trees down here, we're going to have watermelons, pumpkins, all kinds of things. That honeybee might say, oh look, an apple tree, let's go over there. Well, it's not going to cross-pollinate my plants, my corn plants, if it's sitting on a corn plant and then it goes off to an apple tree. So have at least 4 rows side by side. Now, corn performs best in temperatures of 68 degrees to 96 degrees Fahrenheit. That means, and today's May 1, pretty much you can plant from May to June, and corn takes between 60 and 100 days to grow to fruition and be harvested, depending upon the type of corn you're planting, but 60 to 90 days is average in the US. So you can start planting in mid-April or early May like we are now, plant through June, and if you do it monthly, you can have 3 or 4 crops of corn a year. Now we've already hoed the soil here, and as far as soil type goes, you'll be happy to know that in the US pretty much every soil is conducive with growing corn, so you don't need to add anything. Okay, if you want to fertilize your soil, that's fine. The best fertilizer is Mother Nature's fertilizer helper, the earthworm. We did a video on that. We'll link it to the end of this video. But the earthworm seems to provide the perfect amount of nitrogen through its castings for just about everything. But soil in the US is perfect for corn, whether you're in Virginia like us, or whether you're in Arkansas or Texas or even Washington State or California. Now, you want your corn kernels to be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches deep. Okay, if you plant them too deep, they might not come up. If you plant them too shallow, they'll come up quick and you think you're doing great until the heat of July and August comes around and burns up your plants. So you want to make sure the roots have enough protection from the hot sun. 1.5 inches seems to be the proper depth. Now we put 3 kernels together per spot to increase the likelihood of success. Okay, you can do 1, you can do 2. We like to do 3. And if they're all coming up and they're too thick, we can always thin them out, okay? And then just have more corn. We'll make another place to put corn somewhere. So it's as simple as this, and then I'll go through here and cover these up and make sure that they're only covered up by about 1 inch. But guys, as I mentioned, it's May. Don't just be sitting there watching our videos. We're happy that you are, but make sure that after you watch them, you get outside and do it, okay? So now I'll just cover these up with about 1 inch of soil. You know, and the ground might look uneven once I'm done, but you know, if I were to just cover this up the way I hoed this row, they'd be 3 inches deep, and then that's too deep. Some of them might not come up. So I'm not gonna do that. And then after we do this, my wife's gonna work on transferring our eggplant that we started inside, and I'm gonna finish up these rows. But that's pretty much all I wanted to share with you as far as some key tips, some best practices for planting corn. Do at least 4 rows so you can get the proper pollination. Go about 1.5 inches deep with your kernels. Do 3 kernels to maximize your success rate. Don't bury them too deeply. Perfect temperature is 68 to 96 degrees Fahrenheit, which basically means mid-April or May, depending upon where you are, through June for planting. Then you can get multiple crops. And later this year, we're going to let some of our corn dry on the vine or dry on the stalk, and we're going to show you how you can harvest kernels. So we bought kernels this year. We're not next year. We're going to get our seed from the corn we planted today. So if you learned something from this video, please subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more videos coming at you next time from Homesteading Off the Grid.